So I thought it's time to do another yard walk around. It's August 27th, 2016, and it's been another beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. Today it's probably going to be about 85 degrees, so won't be quite as hot as it's been. Actually, yesterday it was close to 100, so pretty darn toasty out here. So a lot of stuff has been continuing to bloom. I mean, it's obviously super bright out here. Beautiful day in the Northwest. And some of the yard is showing some signs of, kind of starting to get some wear and tear with the heavy amount of heat that we've been getting. So one of the things that's actually looking pretty good this year is we replanted some of the plants we had in the backyard to this little kind of shaded area in the front, and these plants are getting super happy here. The one on the left is a little bit taller than the one on the right, but great big tropical looking leaves. The impatiens are kind of finally starting to grow, and what's funny is that they're sending out kind of these shoots like they want to go grow someplace else. So I'm wondering if I was to layer them in some dirt, if they would shoot, come off with a new plant. So I think that's a way that they must propagate. They send out shoots. But anyways, so things are looking pretty nice out here. We need we need to stain the gazebo here pretty soon after its first season. Kind of in typical fashion, the petunias have kind of petered out and they're not looking too good. We start them off in the season, they look pretty good at the beginning, and then they get pretty sorry looking towards the end of April, or excuse me, end of August. So they're looking pretty dry. The yard is looking pretty green in the front yard. Everything is great. I've kind of turned up the watering, so the front yard is getting watered now twice a day. So that keeps it pretty nice and green. Have some sprinkler adjustments I need to do, but this area is turning out great and continuing to be good. We continue to think about cutting down this tree. Maybe this fall, we'll see. I don't know. So one of the things we know we need to do this year is probably pressure wash and treat our driveway. It's now effectively about 1.5 years old. Put it in last spring. Still looks good, but we want to make sure it continues to stay good looking. So we're going to do a kind of a pressure wash of it probably in another week or two. We're going to head to Honolulu next weekend to see how our condo over there is going. So kind of checking on different projects, but it's all good. So some of these banana palms that Rob has planted are turning out to be pretty spectacular looking. We have 3 pots along the back patio area here, and they're getting kind of full sun. They tend to not like the barbecue, but otherwise they look pretty darn spectacular. Also transplanted this was a begonia that I saved the bulb, and it overwintered, and it gave it some water and it's starting to look great. This is the other 2 bananas that we have in pots. A friend of ours told us to take them out of the pots and basically kind of cut them off and store them over the winter just dry. So we may try that solution. I'm not sure. Roses have gone through a couple of swaths of great blooms, but they're kind of not looking very robust right now. Probably need to be cut back. This is that potato vine is definitely very happy here. Kind of growing over the steps. Grass is looking pretty good. We did have our septic system service this year, so it was all checked out good. These plants up here around the master bedroom are starting to look pretty full, so I may kind of cut them back a little bit. They're probably bigger than what they need to be for right now, but they're looking good. Walking down into the orchard, kind of some funny stories about the orchard this year. Kind of learning curve on this stuff. I continue to kind of struggle with apple maggots, which tend to be a pain in the butt. Once you get them, I guess they're tough to get rid of. I had a plum tree that I think I showed you last time. I had tons of plums on it, and I was super excited about starting to get some plums. They just started to get sweet, and then I was gone for a couple of days. I came back and there was 2 plums left, and there was a bunch of seeds on the ground. I think that some either bird or squirrel had a big feast, so there's nothing left there. So this is kind of walking along the garden areas. As you can see, things are pretty kind of looking late summer. You try to keep them controlled, but they tend to look pretty chaotic. So they grow and fall and do whatever they're going to do. I have a couple of pumpkin plants here that are just, they're like growing all over the place. So pumpkins do tend to go crazy, which is what they're doing. And I've got several of these little baby pumpkins that you can see there. They're all over the place. I've got a couple larger ones, but not as many as I had hoped for. The sunflowers grew super tall. I would say maybe in the 12-foot range. They were kind of fun to have, but they're kind of starting to, oh, there's one of my big pumpkins right there, and amongst the little ones. So, but they were fun to have. Cucumbers are still continuing to come. I threw a bunch out the other day. They were simply getting too huge. But, you know, that's what happens with cucumbers. Down here in the lower garden, the two Asian pears continue to have the same problems that they had before. The one on the left tends to be resistant to apple maggots, and the one on the right continues to not be resistant to apple maggots. So I'm just not sure what I'm going to do about that. I may actually want to take this second tree out and replace it with this one, which I believe is a Korean giant semi-dwarf, and it seems to be, you know, resistant to the apple maggots. So what's weird is it's got a little kind of a different skin on it. It's maybe a tougher skin than this one, which you can see some of the damage from the apple maggots. Tends to be a little bit more, maybe it's a lighter or you know, not as thick a skin, so it's a little different. These here are not infected. Obviously that one is infected. The ones that get infected with the apple maggots tend to just completely rot and just fall off. So, and even though I sprayed it regularly, obviously it was not enough spraying to take care of it. I did decide to get rid of the mint that was growing down here, so I nuked it a couple of weeks ago, and it's obviously dying out. Tomatoes are just now starting to grow, or not grow, rather get red. So I've got some that are coming online here. Hopefully be able to harvest some here maybe, you know, next week. Snap peas are obviously gone. Let's see what else is going on down here. Rhubarb is looking good. This kind of lower garden is turning out, again, it's kind of late season, so it's looking kind of messy, but I was pleased with the way that it turned out. Probably need to do more deadheading, but it's kind of a fun, you know, explosion of colors and whatnot, so I'm happy. It looks good. I think next year I'll nuke these roses, and hopefully they'll be happier and more established when they're growing through here. But that's pretty much it from down here. From a pool standpoint, pool is doing real well. It tends to, you know, it's probably costing about $300 a month to heat it during the summer months. Obviously don't heat it in the winter months, and has been, you know, fun to have. This is that Gunnera, which we've been kind of watching, and it's obviously, it's not liking the super hot heat, but definitely likes this location. It's grown probably maybe 10 feet from side to side. Got some, continues to have some interesting blooms inside of it. We're able to keep the grass a little greener this year. Have one little spot over here that's browned out, but it's substantially, you know, looking pretty good. And that's it for the yard walk. Oh, one other thing I'm going to show you real quickly here is these little sedum gardens continue to be great. I mean, this has turned out to be a great solution for these areas with the dahlias in the background. As you can tell, I needed to go ahead and do some deadheading, but that's garden life. So, talk to you later.